Gatewood, if you would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I guess we'll ask the clerk to please read the public notice and call the roll.
Sean LaVoe.
Here.
Marina Talamontes,
Here.
Katie Valenzuela. Katie Maple,
Here.
Mai Vang. Bill Cerna,
Here.
Patrick Kennedy. Rich Desmond. Sue Frost,
Here.
Pat Hume. Mary Jane Lopez Taff,
Here.
Rob Brewer,
Here.
Kevin Spees,
Here.
Sean Farmer. Garrett Gatewood,
Here.
Lisa Kaplan. Noel Mora. Chinua Rhodes. Saul Hernandez,
Here.
Jennifer Larrett. Porsche Middleton. Sergio Robles and Linda Budge. Sacramento Public Library Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.net. Today's meeting will be repeated Saturday, May 27th at 4 p.m. on channel 14 and can also be viewed on Metro Cable 14's YouTube channel. The meeting will also be recorded via Zoom. A DVD copy will be available upon request no later than 2 weeks following today's meeting. The full agenda, including reports, is available on the library's website at www.saclibrary.org. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should raise their hand in the Zoom program. Please speak clearly when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. Please also note that participation in this teleconference via telephone rather than through the Zoom app may result in your telephone number being visible to the public during the live broadcast and later telecasts of this meeting.
Thank you very much. And at this time, we'll move on to item number 2, public comment on matters not on the agenda. No public comment. Okay, item 3, presentations. I think we are beginning with the Friends of the Sacramento Public Library.
Devon Graves is on Zoom.
Hello, members of the Sacramento Public Library Authority. I'm Devon Graves, and I currently serve as the Vice President for the Friends of the Sacramento Public Library. I am honored to provide a report on behalf of the board and our members. So you may have heard on May 4th, we had a little day called Big Day of Giving, and I'm proud to share with you all that the Friends of the Sacramento Public Library raised $104,000 to support Book First. We are excited to be able to receive the support from the community, and we are extremely grateful for the members of the board and the library staff who donated and supported this campaign and helped to advertise our efforts during Big Day of Giving. So we look forward to these funds going to Book First and continuing to support these efforts. Outside of Book First, outside of Big Day of Giving, we just want to make sure to update you all about the Book Den, and our sales are looking steady there. One thing that is exciting about the Book Den is that we get really lucky with some vintage finds, and so those vintage finds that we're able to sell get us some good numbers. So shout out to the Book Den and the volunteers there. If you have some time, please stop by the Book Den and check out the collection that we have going there and support those efforts there. Our branch memberships are continuing to rise. You will see that in the executive report today that folks visiting the library continues to increase. And so we're hopeful as folks get back to utilizing the library post-pandemic, that we continue to see increases in our membership. So for April of last year, we were higher than we were at this point. So we're super excited to continue that work. And then lastly, I just want to share that on June 25th, we are having our All Friends meeting. That is an opportunity for members and leaders across the affiliates at all of our library locations come together and gather and discuss issues pertinent to the organization. So if you have a free time this summer on June 25th, please stop by and engage with the community as we talk about all things Friends and supporting the library. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to share this report, and I'm happy to take any questions.
I don't see any members in the queue to ask a question, but I have a question, Devon, regarding the big day of giving. That's amazing. And I'm curious to know how you did in past years. Is that like what you normally raise at the big day of giving?
So it's another record. So I believe last year we were about 80 or close to 90,000. So this is another record for us. So each year we keep setting the goal a little bit higher. So 100,000. We were nervous at first, but this is a record for the organization. So we want to keep seeing that get higher and higher.
Wow, congratulations. You must have done a good job promoting it. And so that's great. Congratulations and thanks for all that you guys are doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and our next item 3.2 is summer reading update. No, it's not.
Let's try now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. My name is Christy Ham. I am the Youth Services Manager for Sacramento Public Library, and I am here today to tell you about summer reading because it is June and there is time for this annual celebration of reading that we do across this community, thanks to partners like the Friends of Sacramento Public Library. So I'm going to give you a little update about what we have planned for this summer. Next slide. Well, I can talk and we'll figure it out. Otherwise, well, anyway, summer reading is something that happens all across our library system during the months of June, July, and August. This is something that all of our community can participate in. This is reading for fun and enjoyment across our community. It's for all ages. Sign-ups start on, if they started last week on May 15th. And I want to thank those members of, we started with a kickoff at McClatchy Park this past Saturday. Hundreds of members of our community were out there, as well as several members of the authority board. So thank you to those who came out to celebrate summer reading. We had a wonderful family festival. There was a second line parade through Oak Park. It was a really great opportunity to celebrate reading together. And so just a little bit about how summer reading works. Aha. Now, I can show you pictures. This is better. So again, sign-ups start May 15th. The program goes through June, July, and August. And the last day to log your stuff and get your prizes is August 31st. It's not just for kids. This is for all ages. Adults can read too. And we want to especially hit those adults that are reading to kids. The reading you do for your kids counts for you too. So we want to make sure we're celebrating reading across all the county. People can read books, also do activities, and there are a lot of different things using resources of the library as well. We count all different kinds of reading. Audiobooks count, fan fiction count, comic books, graphic novels, all those things are part of what makes summer reading spectacular. So a few things. Why do we read? Sometimes we read for prizes. It's a good time. So one of the things we do for kids, you read 5 books and you get a book to keep. And these are really diverse, representative books that every student across our county can see themselves reflected in the books that they have to choose from. Adults can get a coupon to redeem a free book from the book den, thanks to the Friends of Sacramento Public Library. If you read 25 books, you get a sparkly medal just like this. So don't you all want one? You know you do.
I do.
So read 25 books or earn 2,500 points, and this too can be yours. Adults, if they read 5 books or more, they also get this lovely bag. So you can tout your summer reading pride at the grocery store or anywhere else, be part of the fun. In addition, We have this year badge books, and these are little activity books in English and Spanish. Thanks to the Friends of Sacramento Public Library who sponsored this effort through Big Day of Giving last year. So we have 10,000 of these to go out, and it has a bunch of different ways for people to track their reading, do different activities, and keep their minds active all summer long. But that's not all. You can do it online. You can track your reading with a paper sheet, or you can also go online through the Beanstack app, and you can scan the books as you read them, just with the ISBN, and that way it'll track all your reading for you, make it as easy as possible. So lots of different ways for people to participate. In addition, we have a partnership with the city of Sacramento to make for healthy minds and bodies this summer. So swim passes, free passes for kids for every 5 books they read. They get 1 free pass to City of Sacramento pools, and it allows for admission for 1 child and their accompanying adult, because we know that there are barriers to understanding and enjoying all the summer activities. And that is part of how summer reading works. How are we going to tell people about it? Well, our communications team has prepared a really great full advertising campaign. So we're doing all kinds of billboards, bus shelter ads, social media ads, transit shelter, and on mobile, as well as a full radio campaign in English and Spanish. So you'll be hearing about summer reading even if you don't see it. So come to any library to take part. And I want to thank all the members of the authority board who have shared out the toolkit that we shared out with you to help spread the word. That's it. So if you have any questions, I'm glad to take them, but thank you for your support.
Thank you, Christy. And is there a way to forward some of those promotional flyers so that we can share them on our social media possibly?
Yes. I have a toolkit that went out to all the board members. We can resend it, and I can check about the social media.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is executive team report. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have a council member, Katie Maple, who has a question. I guess Director Maple is the proper.
I'm back. I saw
Sorry,
Katie.
Sorry to make you walk back up to the podium there, but I just wanted to thank you for your presentation, and also just say that it was a ton of fun. I marched to the McClatchy Park Summer Reading Kickoff. I got to march with the drum line for about an hour and a half all throughout the neighborhood. And people were coming out of their houses, and we were giving them beads, and it was a really, really cool experience. And then we had our Brazilian dancers on stage. And I thought it was a really fun event for the community. And so if there are, I will definitely take any of the materials that we can share, but if there's any partnership opportunities with our office, I would love to be able to continue to do that, because I think that we have a lot of need in our community to get our kids out reading this summer. So consider me a partner, and I can also follow up with you afterwards. Thank you.
Glad to do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Maple. And we have one last question from Director Talamantes.
Okay, do you remember what our metrics were last year? Because we got to try and beat it.
Absolutely. Last year, I think we had about 20,000 readers across the county, and we read 350,000 books or thereabouts. So I think we could beat it this year.
$350,000. Okay, to our board of directors, let's beat that this year. Let's collaborate with our library and our local, friends of the library, and let's see if we can beat that goal. And every year, make it a goal for us.
And I'll be back at every.
That's a
meeting to give you
great
an update.
idea.
350. All right.
Wow,
I'll read 10.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, and seeing no further questions, we'll move on to our next item, which I believe, I don't know if Peter Coyle, if you had any comments.
For my report, Director
Yes,
Frost. Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you all. So we've been spending a lot of time getting ready for summer reading, as you can imagine. And so we're really glad to have had that kickoff event last weekend. This last month, a number of staff attended some conferences in an effort to better our services to the community. We had 2 staff who attended the Association of Children's Museums conference, and that's a little outside the norm of what libraries do. But museums have a lot of good practices in how to engage children in learning with science and other activities. And so staff attended that and felt it was a worthwhile experience. One staff member said it was probably the best conference that they'd attended. So they're going to bring some of those learnings back to us and how we can better improve how we teach children in the library through our programs and services. So we're really excited to get some expertise from a different perspective, from a different profession that is adjacent to the library space. So that was really a good effort on their part to attend that. So looking forward to bringing some of those things back to the library. And last month, Deputy Director Keller, who was not here at the last meeting because he was at this conference, the Public Library Safety Summit, and he attended with 2 other staff members on our security team, where they talked to other libraries about issues facing our industry. Nationwide, there's been an increase in patron interactions that have not been pleasant, crime, violence, those sorts of things, and other issues facing this nation that impact libraries. So learning from other libraries, how they're handling those situations, best practices to making sure that libraries continue to be a safe community space for our users and our customers. And of course, we make great efforts to make sure that our users who have needs that come to the library can be referred to appropriate agencies and services that they need. And then the other great thing we'd like to share was last month was a celebration called El Dia de los Niños, which is Children's Day or Book Day, and that's a national event. It's been going on for over 20 years, I think. And it's a celebration of Spanish language culture, and it brings people together to celebrate children and reading, and really encouraging everyone to read, not just English, but also in Spanish, encourage that diversity in America of multilingualism. And it was we had a number of events that were really well attended. This is an annual thing that the staff really are excited about, and the communities really respond well to. So we're really happy to have been able to do that. And those are the things I'd like to highlight from my report, but I'm happy to answer any other questions that any of the members of the board might have.
I do not see any members in the queue or online, and I'm wondering if we have any public comment on this item. No public comment. So does that conclude your comments, Peter?
Yes, Chair Frost.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our next item is informational. Item 5.1, monthly financial report, and item 5.2, quarterly treasurer's report for Q3. And then I wonder if there are any directors that have any questions or comments relating to the monthly reports. Seeing none, we'll move on to consent. Item 6.1. Which is our action summary, 6.2 contract approval, 6.3 annual investment policy update. And if we don't have, I don't see any members in the queue with questions. Do we have any public comment on consent? No public comment, so I'll call.
So
for-
moved.
We have a motion by Director Gatewood and a second by Director Laloe. And
Lowy,
roll call vote, please.
Sean Malloy. Aye. Karina Talamontes.
Aye.
Katie Valenzuela. Katie Maple,
Aye.
Mai Bang. Phil Serna,
Aye.
Patrick Kennedy. Rich Desmond. Sue Frost,
Aye.
Pat Hume, Mary Jane Lopez Taft,
Aye.
Rob Brewer,
Aye.
Kevin Spees,
Aye.
Sean Farmer, Garrett Gatewood,
Yes.
Saul Hernandez. Saul Hernandez,
Saul.
Saul, you're muted.
well, he must have.
You just unmuted.
Saul Hernandez,
Yes.
and it's unanimous with 10 members.
Okay, thank you. And our next item, number 7.1, is our fiscal year 2023-2024 proposed budget, position control, fees structure, and cost allocation plan. And I see Johnny approaching bench, not the bench.
Did you really say Johnny Bench? That's hot fire. Hot fire. I didn't even think about that.
Our infamous controller.
Good afternoon, Chair Frost and members of the board. My name is John E., the Finance Manager for the Sacramento Public Library. So we're here today to discuss the fiscal year 23-24 budget, position control, fee structures, and cost allocation plan. The packet is pretty lengthy, so as I'm going through the slides, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt and ask any questions. Just a quick reminder, the library is funded by three major revenue sources, property tax revenues from the county of Sacramento. This includes the unincorporated county areas, the city of Elk Grove, city of Galt, city of Alton, city of Citrus Heights, and city of Rancho Cordova. So projected at 56.2% in revenues. And then for the city of Sacramento, contributions for Measure U and general fund combined is 24.2%. And parcel taxes Measure X and B combined at 15.8%. And a 3.8% for miscellaneous income from investments, fee collections, gallery income, and central distributions and donations. The proposed budget is a balanced budget with anticipating revenues to be at 59.1 million, expenditures at 58.9 million, for a net surplus of about $250,000. So, small modest surplus, but any surplus is a great thing. The two pie charts gives you a good visual of the percentages for revenues and expenditures. Again, county property tax revenues coming in at estimated 56.2%. City of Sacramento and Measure U 24.2%. And the two parcel taxes in the city of Sacramento 15.8%. And other miscellaneous income at 3.8%. On the flip side, expenditures, roughly 55% is going to salaries and benefits. We are a service industry, so naturally it makes sense that most of our budget will go to pay for our wonderful, hardworking library staff. So 55.2% for the staff. Services, supplies, and food maintenance at 26.4%. Books and materials, 14.3%, and roughly 4.1% for capital projects. Exhibit A1, this is a good 3-year flow of the library's fund balances. So we start the fiscal year at, as of June 30, 2022. So these are based on audited financial statements at 54.2 million for as of June 30, 2022 combined. And in the current year, this is May, so we're just 1 short month away from the end of June. And so we'll start to work on a closing and wrap up the fiscal year over the next 3 to 4 months. So estimated revenues for fiscal year 23 are 57.4 million combined, and expenditures at 52.1 million combined. So a net surplus of roughly 5.3 million. And a couple of things that contribute to the surplus. One is higher property tax revenues than we initially anticipated. And then also there are a number of capital projects that are either delayed or have not started due to, as you know, shipping delays, supply chain shortages, and as Jared would always tell me, worker shortages as well too nowadays. So once we close the books, we'll be working with Director Coyle, Peter Coyle, and Jared and his team as well too, to reassess the projects and rebudget and bring the capital project back to the authority board sometime back in September for the September final. And then, so once we close the books, we're anticipating about 59.5 million in fund balances for as of June 30, 2023. And looking ahead in fiscal year 23-24, estimated revenues to be at about 59.1 million and expenditures at 58.9 million combined. So again, a modest surplus of $250,000. And so second to last column, this is the economic uncertainty and cash flow needs. So 11.3 million for the County of Sacramento Fund. So this is based on 35% for economic uncertainty and cash flow. Whereas the City of Sacramento, they pay the library on a monthly basis. Their reserve is only for economic uncertainty, which is 17%. So 2.5 million for the City of Sacramento in reserves and 1.1 for Measure X and about 442,000 in Measure B. And then lastly, the final column, we're looking at an estimated fund balance of 44.4 million combined for by the time we close the books for June 30, 2024. Exhibit A2, this is a summarized version of the budget. Again, total revenues 59.1 million, expenditures 58.9 million. And of that amount, 32.5 million goes to salaries and benefits, services and supplies, 15.4 million, and so on. So again, a net savings of 248,000. Exhibit A3, this is the sources of funds. Again, total sources of fund are 59.1 million. And if you can see it at the very top, the county fund is coming in at, or projected to be at 33.7 million. And of that amount, 33.2 million is for county property taxes. So we're anticipating a 7.2% increase over last year's budget and roughly 5% over the actual revenues that we received in fiscal year 23. And then next, City of Sacramento, 15.3 million in estimated revenues. And then of that amount, 14.3 million is for the city general fund and Measure U contribution. And then if you notice, the change shows a net zero change. This is based on the city's 5-year forecast that they work with the library's finance team, and then we work with their finance team to make sure we stay afloat and have sufficient monies to balance the budget. So this year, or this upcoming year, is going to be zero, and then in the next future years they'll continue the step up increases. And then Measure B is projected to be at, or Measure X at 6.89 million. And then again, the postal tax revenues of 6.7 million. And this is based on the San Francisco CPI increase, which caps out at 3%. And then Measure B, 2.6 million, again, 3% cap. And then we have some miscellaneous state grants at 101,000 for a literacy grant, 114,000 for our partner library buildings, and then Fund 400,000, that's for the E-rate credits and rebate that we get. So again, 59.1 million in total revenues. Exhibit A4, this is the total expenditure recap. So again, 58.9 million in total expenditures. The county city fund is projected to be at 33.6 million. And if you don't notice, there's a line item called cost allocation, which shows 58%. So that's based on a cost allocation plan. And we'll take a look at how the cost plan is put together and the outcomes and how it works with the budget shortly. And then City of Sacramento, 15.8 million for total expenditures. Again, the cost plan for the City of Sacramento is 25%, so 6.5 million for indirect allocation. And then Measure X is 6.6 million, and cost plan allocation is 12% for the indirect charges. And then Measure B at 2.7 million, and then the cost allocation plan at 5% for indirect and overhead charges. The book fund, and so in the last 3 years, we've kept the book budget at 8 million. And now with the people coming back. There's high demands for books and materials. So we're recommending a 400,000 increase to the book budget. And a small amount of that money, small amount of the increase is earmarked for the Fair Oaks re-grand opening collection. So I believe Jerry calls it the Sparkle collection. So a portion of that 400,000 is going to go to for that purpose. Exhibit B, position control. There are no recommended changes, so we are recommending to keep 319 FTEs. And this is sort of tiny, but again, no changes since January, the last time the authority board adopted the position control. Fee structures, Exhibit C, no changes. We'll continue to collect fees only. As the board may recall, the board approved to eliminate collecting fines to provide equity and eliminate any barriers due to economic conditions. So we'll continue to collect fees only. Capital budget and deferred maintenance, we're looking at 2.4 million in budget. So of that amount, 400,000 goes to system-wide security and camera upgrades. 675,000 for carpet, paint, furniture at various branches. 630,000 for the automated material handling system expansion at the Central Library, which is an amazing system to help staff sort the books. And then 150,000 for a third electric bookmobile, and then for some miscellaneous costs for the remainder. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the cost allocation plan is updated annually. We do hire a consultant, NBS. They are experts with putting cost plans together to make sure we capture the right census data. And based on the JPA agreement, it has to be updated annually for us to use the percentages. So they follow the guidelines of Title II, CFR Part 200. So that's formerly known as OMB 87 for the federal cost allocation plan. So again, the cost plan is to allow staff to charge indirect budgets to the operating budget fund. So based on the fiscal year 23-24 outcome, so if you look at the grid at the bottom, 57% goes to the county and city fund, 26% to the city general fund, and 5% to Measure B, and 12% to Measure X. And as in past years, staff will continue to recommend that we use a 5-year average to minimize any cost volatility year over year. So the very last column shows the percentages that we've used for the budget. And so based on the cost allocation plan, fiscal year 23-24, we're looking at 25.8 million in indirect charges. And again, the breakdown is based on the cost plan percentages. So 58% goes to the county/city fund, which is roughly 15 million. City of Sacramento, 25% at 6.5 million. Measure X, 12%, 3.1 million, and rounding it off, 1.3 million allocated to Measure B. So again, the grand total is 25.8 million for indirect charges, which captures the director's budget, finance, IT, facilities. So charges that we cannot directly budget to the operating funds. And lastly, future challenges. As you know, the building and maintenance continues to be a major hurdle for the libraries. We do manage lots of buildings. So on the city side, there are about 21.4 million in unfunded capital needs. Fortunately, the city facilities team, in working with Jared and our team, they were able to submit multiple grant applications to the state library Building Forward Infrastructure Grant Program. And for those projects, we'll approve in an amount of 7.9 million for a total project cost of 11.8 million combined. So of those projects, 1.8 million is for the Bell Coolidge Library for major repairs to the tile veneer, new roof, HVAC system, the Central Library, 1.4 million. Again, major repairs to elevator, HVAC and roof. The El Paso Heights, 305,000 for roof repairs and parking lot repair. And the Martin Luther King Library, 8.3 million for a complete renovation project.
Johnny, I have
Yes.
a question for you. This is Mary Jane. For the city of Citrus Heights, if you can back up just for a second. My question is the unincorporated and additional cities contribution equal? We have one library in our city boundaries, Sylvan, and I noticed in our executive summary, there's some work being done there. So could you tell me if that allocation, budget allocation is equal, not dependent on the number of libraries in each location?
That was Director
Lopez Taft.
Lopez Taft. So that you're referring to this page, right? The cost allocation plan?
Correct.
Yeah, so when we allocate, it's based on census data. So that includes salaries, square footage, collections, number of IT serve tickets, number of facility serve tickets and so forth, communications. And then we also consider the number of purchase orders, receipts. So lots of factors go in, and so each location are provided their proportionate share of the cost plan percentages.
Thank you.
So-
I just wanted
yes.
to know there was a metric that was equitable.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Johnny, we have one more question from Director Talamontes.
We can go back to the current slide. How often do these monies from, was it state or federal grant applications we were able to receive?
This one
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
how often do we have access to these library grant programs?
So I believe this is the first time that we are applying for the grant. Jared knows more about these projects if he wants to add,
Sure.
but yeah.
So for this will be the first time in 20 years that the California State Library had an infrastructure program like this.
Wow.
So it's been a very long time, and Sacramento County in general has actually kind of led the way in terms of number of grants received. So we've been doing a really good job both on the city side and on the unincorporated county side as well. But unfortunately, it's once every 20 years.
That's wonderful. And do you know why the North Sacramento Library was not approved for grant funding? I know Councilman Lilly has a little bit of millions of dollars invested
Yeah,
into the
so,
project.
Last week, the city of Sacramento applied for round 2 of the Building Forward Infrastructure Grant Program, specifically for North Sacramento. So we're optimistic it will get approved.
Okay. That's good to hear. All right. Well, let's cross our fingers, Council or Director Lilly.
Thank you. And Director Laloe.
Actually, you beat me to the question. I was kind of worried when I saw this. Was this the first one or this is the second one? So
Yeah, it was
this
the
is
first,
the first one.
first
So
one.
the second one, we're
Sec-
still hopeful that it's gonna
We
be-
are still very hopeful. It's a very strong grant application that was submitted.
And it was submitted when?
It was submitted last week on the due date,
And when do you anticipate hearing back?
September, October timeframe.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, just to clarify, this is about the first round that we applied for. So the second round, we'll hear back later on. So we're very hopeful for that.
Thank you.
And Chair Fromm, if I may, so the 9.6 million was denied. And but we've received word from the city that they've resubmitted for the grant project. The downside is the project between submitting this first round have gone up another 1.3 million in total project cost. So positive that we are resubmitting for the grant, but on the flip side, we are seeing costs go up as well too. So the estimated cost, based on the numbers that they gave to Jared and he sent to me this morning is the project can be about 10.9 million rather than 9.6 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's happening across the board in several of the boards that I'm serving on. Director Laloe.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The 9.6 is just for tenant improvement of the property, or that includes the cost of purchasing the property as well?
That's for total tenant improvements, also including furniture, fixture, and equipment, which is also responsibility of the jurisdiction that owns the building.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this is about 8,000 square feet, correct?
No, the building's about 19,000 square feet.
No, but are we taking about 8 or
About
12,000?
11, it's approximately 12,000 square feet for public space.
And this has gone out to competitive bidding?
Yes, it has. Yeah. The city of Sacramento has taken this through the whole process with the cost estimator. So these are based on very realistic numbers.
Is that economic development or is that Ryan Moore or Mike Jasso? Who's your?
Ryan Moore.
Ryan,
That's his group.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. Proceed.
Okay, thank you, Chair Frost. And lastly, inflation, that, obviously that continues to impact the cost of services, supplies, books and materials, healthcare costs, and capital project costs. And as we see in the Sacramento News and Review building. So as time goes on, it's going to go higher and higher as we wait. So that concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any additional questions.
Okay, Director Brewer.
Chair Frost, in looking at the information we have for this particular budget for the county libraries, have there been any applications for any of the county libraries like Carmichael, Fair Oaks, Elk Grove? Because I'm curious to see what allocations would exist for those libraries in this budget as well. As we're going into looking at a 5-year horizon, just trying to figure out where things will be allocated for the county libraries as well.
Yes, the county libraries were successful in getting many grants, including the Elk Grove Library. I think that was an $8 million grant that was received, as well as the county received a bunch of other grant funds for improving infrastructure such as HVAC repairs and replacements and doing other ADA enhancements. That information was included in a report that I submitted to the board about 6 months ago, but we can resend to you so you can have that information.
Thank you, Director Brewer. And I do not see hands raised or anyone else in the queue. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No answers.
No public comment. So thank you, Johnny, for a very thorough presentation. I guess we are ready to entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion by Director Brewer and a second by Director Laloe, who I heard first. Roll call vote, please.
Sean Malloy. Marina Talamontes,
Hi.
Katie Valenzuela, Katie Maple,
Aye.
Mai Vang, Bill Cerna,
Aye.
Patrick Kennedy, Rich Desmond, Sue Frost,
Aye.
Pat Hume, Mary Jane Lopez Taft,
Aye.
Rod Brewer,
Aye.
Kevin Spees,
Aye.
Sean Farmer, Garrett Gatewood,
Yes.
Saul Hernandez,
Aye.
unanimous with 10 members present.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Okay, our next item, number 8, is reports, ideas, questions from the board. And I am seeing Director Talamontes.
I just wanted to thank the library staff for attending my Jump into Spring, although it was almost summer, event at Niños Park. It's the highest density of kids like per square mile in the area. So it was really rewarding to have you there, and just thank you to you and your staff. And I look forward to seeing you this summer for summer reading with my nephew at the library. And you'll be seeing a lot of me, and I'm looking forward to my t-shirt.
Yes. And I don't see anyone else in the queue. I wonder, Director Coyle, if you have any final comments?
I think I'll just say I appreciate you taking the time to be here at this meeting and approving our budget. We are really looking forward to a great next year. And summer reading is always a great way to kind of end one year and begin another. So we're hoping that enthusiasm continues for the rest of the year.
And I want to thank you. Over the years, the library budget has, there were some years where there were challenges, but the leadership at the Library Authority has done an amazing job over the last many years, and you've carried forward that. And of course, Johnny, thank you for the good work on the budget. So with that, this meeting's adjourned at 3:49 p.m. Thank you.